Good morning, everyone. Oh, we can do better than that. Good morning. Good morning, Cedar Lane. It is good to see so many people here. And we thank you for those of you that are joining us online. We're going to get started this morning with hymn number 38. If you'll turn in your hymnal to number 38, Morning Has Broken. And though we don't have our choir today, we have something very special. Jasmine and I are switching roles for a Sunday. And she's got flute with her, and we've also got Rachel. So let's go ahead and start off our morning with Morning Has Broken, if you'll join us in singing.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word.
Sweet the rain to fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first to fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass.
Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise with good morning, God's recreation of the new day.
And number 16 in your hymnal. Number 16, 'tis a gift to be simple. Let's sing it through a couple times.
Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. And true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn, turn will be a delight, till by turning, turning we come round right.
And our final hymn that we're going to sing for ingathering is number 350, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time. The ceaseless flow of endless time. No one can check or stay. We'll view the path with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past and dreams anew today. Verse 3, the path and future every meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be our New Year vow. Awesome! You all are welcome to join choir. It's Wednesday nights. I invite you now to rise, embody your spirit, and greet your neighbor. Greet everybody that has come. You are most welcome here at Cedar Lane. Yep. And if you will, join us again, and we're going to sing Welcome, because everybody is welcome here, and the lyrics are on the screen now. Singing welcome to this space, you're invited to come and take your place. All are welcome to grow in love and grace, 'cause everyone is welcome here. All are welcome in this space.
Good morning. Oh, wow, that was awesome. Welcome to Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church. It is so amazing to see this multi-generational community here this morning. Wow, thank you all for coming this morning. I am the Reverend Dayna Edwards, and my pronouns are she and her. And whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your beliefs, your gender identity, documentation status, and disability, and wherever you're joining us from, at home or in person, you are welcome to bring your whole perfectly imperfect self here, whether you're wiggly or want to be still, whether you are a young person or a person who's more mature, you are welcome here today, this morning in the sanctuary, and we're so, so glad you're here. And a special welcome to those of you who are new to Cedar Lane this morning. If you're joining us for the first time, or if you still feel new, please raise your hand, and someone will come around with a small gift. And if you're joining us online, please add your name in the chat so that we can give you a warm Cedar Lane welcome. So raise your hand if you're new or feel new, and let's give everybody a warm Cedar Lane welcome. And if you're joining online, you're invited to complete the newcomer form that will be linked in the chat. And if you're interested in learning more about Unitarian Universalism, you're welcome to join me in the library after the service. And if you are here and you get the weekly newsletter, raise your hand. Okay, so thank you. Yeah, so lots of people get the weekly newsletter. If you don't get it yet, you're invited to go to cedarlane.org and to subscribe to our newsletter. It's a great way to stay informed, and it also helps us limit our announcements in the service because you can read them in the e-news. So we also have pastoral visitors here this morning, and our pastoral visitors are an extension of our ministry team. And Helen Pakacek is our pastoral visitor today, and she's available to support you in person if needed. And we gather this morning at Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church on the ancestral lands of the Nacotchtank people. They are part of the Piscataway group of tribes, and we gather on the land on which enslaved African people and their descendants labored and lived without choice or reward. We honor with gratitude the people and the land and the people who have protected it throughout the generations. And we gather this morning in gratitude for all who have gone before us, whose love and labor helped create and sustain the mission and ministry of this religious community. We gather in this space made sacred by our presence and the presence of the holy with these centering words from our new member, George Squires. Make time for yourself. Be where you need to be. A place that is your own, something that feels so right. Find your sacred space. Breathe in deeply. Center yourself. Give yourself the gift of peace. Drop the stress and all its trappings and find your sacred space. Cry, laugh, mourn, reflect. The time is meant to be used. It belongs to you. Embrace it with your entire being. Find your sacred space. Come. Let us worship together.
Good morning. I'm Sawyer, the worship associate for today's service. My pronouns are she, her. That's better. As Damone Jones, Karen Santiago, and their children, Tallulah and Cecilia, come forward to kindle the chalice this morning, please share in the chat where you're kindling your chalice from. Please rise now in body and or in spirit to share the chalice lighting words. We kindle the chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention.
Reverend Dayna,
Abhi,
good morning.
good morning.
So, I have something in the Wonder Box this
You
morning.
do?
Yes. Would you like to take a look?
I wonder what's in there. Let's see. Oh, it's heavy.
Yes, it is.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's a rock.
No.
Looks like a rock to me.
No, I actually see an elephant in it.
An elephant?
That's right. That's right. And therein hangs the tail.
Ah.
So, long time ago, there lived in India an elephant sculptor. And he was an amazing sculptor who was known all over the land for his incredible lifelike sculptures of elephants. And one day, the king came to his workshop because the king wanted some of the sculptor's elephants in his palace. And the king was amazed to see all the beautiful elephants that he had carved and sculpted in the courtyard as they came to his workshop. And the sculptor welcomed the king. He said, "Oh, welcome, king. We're so glad to have you here." And the king said, "This is incredible. This is amazing. How do you do this? I mean, these feel like real elephants." So the sculptor said, "Well, here's what I do. I go to the river, and right by the river is this big mountain, and I look around, and then sometimes I find these large pieces of rock, really big pieces, much bigger than this. I mean, huge boulders. And then my workers and I, we bring that rock over to the workshop. And then I just look at the rock. I look at it, and I start seeing something. In the rock, I start seeing an outline. And the outline is, what does he see? An elephant, that's right, because he is an elephant sculptor, right? Because if he saw a mouse in it, that may not be going with the story, at least. He also sculpted other animals, but for our sake, we'll just focus on the elephant today. So, he would then see the outline, and then he said, I would then start I would take my chisel and my mallet, and then I would start chipping away the stone. All the time, I would only see the elephant. And everything that is not elephant, I chip away. And then, there it is. Right. The elephant emerges out of the rock with his tusks. This one doesn't have tusks, but imagine tusks. And then his trunk and his feet and his big body and his little tail. And then I can just see the elephant trumpet. Now, can someone help me out on how you trumpet? How does the elephant trumpet? Nah, it's a good startup. Let's try that again. Right. So, this is I come from India, the land of elephants, right? So we were taught, if you're going to trumpet like an elephant, you need to do it like an elephant. So you'd put your left hand on your nose, stick your right hand like this. Yep, you can do it. Most of you, not those who are needing shoulder surgery, so you may want to be careful about that. And then you go, that's right. And that's when the elephant emerges out of the stone. And that's what the sculptor told the king. And the king was amazed. Because what the sculptor told him was, the elephant is already in the rock. All he does is to chip away everything else for the elephant to emerge. Now, what do you think is the message of this story? We all have elephants inside, right? We all have a very strong spirit, me, inside. And what we do is work on getting that out for the world and the people and our families and our friends to see. And that's the work we do. And that's a good work to do, especially in the new year, right? And that's the story. Thank you. And now we're going to sing
Number 83, Winds Be Still, if you will rise in body or spirit.
And we will all sing the first verse together, and then during the second verse, our children and youth will then depart for faith formation programs.
Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come, peace graced this time with harmony. Fly
There are a number of things to lift up this morning, and the first is a special announcement from our nominating committee, which for those of you who are not familiar with how we do church at Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, we are a self-governing congregation, which means that we elect people from within our congregation to serve in roles that support the work of the congregation. And so this morning I'd like to welcome Bonnie Beavers from the nominating committee to share a little bit about what the process is going to be and call on you. Bonnie, welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bonnie Beavers, and I'm here today on behalf of the nominating committee. And in case you're wondering what that is, the nominating committee brainstorms to find qualified, active members of Cedar Lane to fill positions on the Board of Trustees and on the standing committees. And then at the annual meeting in June, the congregation votes on the candidates who have agreed to serve. So this will be my 26th year at Cedar Lane, and from personal experience, I can say there is no better way to deepen your connection to this church than to take a leadership position in it. You've benefited from all the leaders who've gone before. Now it's your turn. But Bonnie, you may say, I have a demanding job and children. Plus, I do music, I do RE, other stuff at the church. Yes, and so have the majority of all the best leaders that we've recruited. Busy people understand the value of time and manage it well. Plus, what better lesson for your kids than to model your values and show how we nurture community, how we build a more just world, one decision at a time. But Bonnie, you will still say, I don't know anything about the board or any committees. I don't even read the board minutes posted in the lounge. What? What? I will say. And when I recover, I will say, neither did any of us before we got recruited. And you cannot imagine a better and more supported way to get educated and find out how stuff gets done around here and have a say in our future. Challenging, yes, and fun. So please consider giving your time and your talents to help build the future of Cedar Lane. And you can also nominate someone you admire. We want to know about them. It's been a tough few years trying to recruit during the pandemic, so we could really use your help and support now. So contact me. I'm at bbeavers@bbeavers.com. See me after church, or look for our message in the e-news, which should be in next Friday. And I guarantee you won't regret it, and you'll have the satisfaction of knowing you made a significant contribution to the life of this venerable, democratic, small d institution and our faith community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bonnie, for that wonderful call to action and commitment. And among the many joys of serving in this community, the joy of serving with lay leaders who are part of our board and other committees in our congregation is so fulfilling, and the deep dedication and the commitment that people bring to support the mission and ministry of our religious community. It is truly, truly a blessing, and this is an opportunity for you to step up and consider being a part of this process and be part of the leadership and the decision-making. Speaking of decision-making, this afternoon, following the service, we will have a special congregational meeting where you will actually see our Board of Trustees in action, where they're going to be hosting an important meeting for us to consider two things. One, a new name change for Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, a name that will reflect the wonderful religious and spiritual diversity that we as a religious community now embody. And there's going to be a robust discussion and some ideas shared and some names, and we're going to go through the democratic process, which is one of the principles of Unitarian Universalism, and hopefully come up with a new name. That's number one. The second, we're going to hear more updates about the exciting construction that is going to be happening very soon. Can I hear an amen? Amen. All right. Yes, it is going to be a religious experience in way more ways than you imagined. So get ready. But we're going to hear some important updates from the board regarding the construction contract, the process that is being envisioned, the kind of things that are going to be attended to during this process, and also how this is going to all happen. So please consider joining us. There will be food. There is lunch before the meeting. Can I hear an amen for that? Amen. Yes. And we will have childcare for families. So, an amen for that as well. So that we can all be present and participate in these important deliberations. Even if you're not members, you are welcome to come and see how we engage with democracy as a spiritual practice. And then later this afternoon, we're joining our Potomac partners, River Road and Fairfax, to offer the orientation to Unitarian Universalism, the beginning and belonging class, which will be on Zoom from 2 to 3:30 this afternoon. And if you're interested, you can still sign up. The sign-up link is in our e-news. You can register. And if you miss this Sunday, we have another session next Sunday on the 15th. And speaking of next Sunday, our youth are going to be participating in a day of service for Martin Luther King Day, which is Monday, January 16th. And they're going to be creating care packages for children and youth in foster care. So if you're able, please bring your donations of lotion, socks. Oh, I need glasses. It's all, you see where my mind is. Lotion, snacks for staff, socks, chapsticks, pencils, pens, journals, and prepackaged snacks. Yeah, I was on just read ahead. And there is a donation box in front of the Faith Formation office, which is to my left through those doors. You can drop them off this week or on Sunday, next Sunday, which also will be our Martin Luther King Sunday service with my colleague and friend, the Reverend Dr. Kristen Harper, who will be preaching, and it's going to be an amazing service. And Kristen is preparing a wonderful sermon reflecting on a letter from a Birmingham jail, a UU response. All right. The reason Kristen is going to be here because I will be in India next Sunday with my wife, Lalita, as we leave this week to go and be ready for a group of 16 pilgrims who will be joining us on January 18th for a 3-week-long pilgrimage through different parts of India. We have 13 good souls from Cedar Lane who decided to put their lives into our hands. And then a couple of hardy pilgrims from River Road and my colleague, Reverend Rebecca Savage from Rockville, who will be joining us. And this pilgrimage is intended to give us the opportunity to really immerse ourselves in the rich cultural, spiritual, and social heritage of India. So we'll be traveling to different parts of India, visiting with communities, including Unitarians who live in India, Unitarian Hindus, and indigenous Unitarians. And it's going to be an amazing trip. You're going to hear all about it after they get back. But in the meantime, we seek your blessings and prayers for this safe journey. And that concludes our announcements. And now we move into the space of naming and sharing the joys and sorrows of our community and beyond.
Let us center ourselves and enter into this moment, calling upon all the sources of love that are within, among, and around us. We lift up those in our community who are living through significant passages, the small and extraordinary milestones of life. We pause to be present to our spiritual companions and to the concerns of our own hearts. Within our Cedar Lane community, we offer our condolences to Peter Kimbus and his family, who are mourning the loss of Pete's father, Jim Kimbus, who died in early December in Florida from Parkinson's. We hold Annette Scarpita and her family in our hearts and prayers. Annette's mother, Anna Gauk, died December 22nd in California, with Annette present. Anna had celebrated her 100th birthday last July. Our caring extends beyond Cedar Lane to others whose lives are lost and whose lives are impacted by war, violence, and calamities in our nation and in our world. May these friends of ours, our companions in the world, and all the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts be held in the embrace of meditation and silence.
Now I invite you to stay in that place of meditative reflection as we move into a moment of centering meditation. I invite you to become aware of your breath, centering on your breath, breathing in, holding it for a moment, and breathing out. As you breathe, I invite you to come into your body if that feels safe for you. If you need to, you can focus on a place in the room. Come into your body and find your center. And breathe into that center. Now find a place in that center where you can grow roots. And feel those roots grow down deep, deep, deep into the ground. Finding a connection between your center and your body, or your center in this room. Finding a connection between that place and the deep center of the earth. Breathing into that energy. Feeling the flow from the deep center of the earth back into the center of your body, back into the center of this room. Can you center down into that place? Can you rest in that center? Breathing deeply into that center, feeling that connection to the earth, feeling that groundedness. I invite you to find your center in the silence. Breathing deeply into the silence. And as we enter into this silence together, if you feel so moved, I invite you to rise in body or spirit, to speak the name of loved ones that you are holding in remembrance, or share those names in the chat. Let's be in the silence together.
Would you join me in singing hymn number 86 in whatever position is comfortable for you? Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity. Let me know serenity. Fill me with a vision. Clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, let peace find a home in me. Spirit of the great mystery, hear the still small voice in me. Help me live with wordless creed as I comfort those in need. Fill me with compassion, be the source of my intuition. Then when life is done for me, let love be my legacy.
Give and receive an offering to sustain the vision, mission, and ministry of our religious community and support an organization that is in alignment with our mission. The giving of our love offering is a symbolic and a practical act. It is symbolic in signifying our commitment and love for our religious community, and practical in that it provides the resources, the financial resources we need to continue doing the work of our religious community. And this morning, we share our plate with Save More Kids. And to share a little bit more about the work of Save More Kids, I'd like to welcome Roger DeLucia, who is a member of our social justice ministry team. Welcome, Roger.
Thank you. Hello. Save More Kids is a nonprofit that children in Liberia confront a variety of unsavory conditions on a daily basis. in addition to fighting extreme poverty, rampant unemployment, and a lack of functioning school systems, thousands of young people live in conditions with little hope for their future. Save More Kids has a three-pronged approach to addressing these issues. One, empower young people by meeting them where they are, being visible and connected with their life. Two, mentor their hearts and minds to be able to address the problems that continue to cripple the environment. And three, provide them with the resources needed to develop solutions and problems threatening their communities in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. The offering to sustain the work of our religious community and the work of Save More Kids will now be given and gratefully received. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Rachel, Jasmine, and Adam, for that so soulful piece. Wow. Our Soul Matters theme for this month is finding our center. And so as the new year dawns and many of us begin to make resolutions for better and more meaningful living, my intention, I've stopped making resolutions because I never keep them. Even intentions, but at least it feels a little bit more doable. Anyway, my intention for this year is to pause, be more present, to center down, to find more balance and find my center and hopefully move from that. I'm just curious, how many of us resolved something like that for this new year? Let's see. Yeah. And how many of us have already broken that? Lasted a day, that's all. And then I was back. You know, in his book of Meditations, The Centering Moment, theologian, educator, civil rights activist, and pastor to many civil rights leaders, the Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman wrote, "We wait in the quietness for some centering moment that will redefine, reshape, and refocus our lives. It does seem to be a luxury to be able to give thought and time to the ups and downs of one's private journey while the world around us is so sick and weary and desperate. But we cannot get through to the great anxieties that surround us until somehow a path is found through the little anxieties that beset us." This, it seems to me, is the challenge of any religious life, that is, of any attempt to lead what one might call a religious life. It is to find a balance between a purely spiritual religion, which Unitarian Universalist theologian James Luther Adams once called it purely spurious religion, and a religion which addresses in some concrete way the realities of a world which is sick and weary and desperate. For who can deny that the world is sick and weary and desperate? We live and move and have our being in the midst of conflict, within ourselves, at home, in the community, in our religious community, nationally and internationally. This is an age of conflict, which makes it an age of anxiety as well. The world is a desperate place. It definitely demands our attention. The world needs us, but it will certainly overwhelm us if we do not take the time to care for, to deepen our own spiritual lives. A little prayer about the door of a Unitarian Universalist church in Chicago captures the movement which is called for in all our lives. The inscription says, "Out of the world of the many, into the world of the one. Out of the world of the one, back to the world of the many." Religion must be more than escape. It must be more than a self-centered yearning after our own physical and mental well-being, or a self-satisfaction with the way things are. Reverend King called it living with divine dissatisfaction and being socially maladjusted. Religion demands more from us that it demands that we be fully engaged in life, be fully present to life. The Trappist monk Thomas Merton writes in Thoughts in Solitude that the solution to the problem of life is life itself. Life is not attained by reasoning and analysis, but first of all, by living. Similarly, in his book Contemplative Prayer, he writes that meditation has no point and no reality unless it is firmly rooted in life. So the purpose of seeking and finding our center is not to escape from the world, but to prepare ourselves for whatever it is that we are called to be and do in the world. It is not to escape from our lives, but to discover how we might live them. It is not to take refuge in inaction, but to find the strength and the courage to take the actions which are revealed to us. Equally important, the purpose of finding our center is to come to know ourselves better, to encounter ourselves more. How can we know others if we do not know ourselves? How can we be free to be with, to help, to support others if we cannot help ourselves? And to know ourselves and help ourselves better, we must take the time, as Thurman says, to sit quietly and see ourselves pass by. To sit quietly and see ourselves pass by. Because if we do not take the time to get straight with ourselves, how will we ever straighten anything out? Jean-Pierre de Caussade, a 17th century Catholic priest, offers help in what he calls the sacrament of the present moment. The sacrament of the present moment. Now, when I read that phrase, I'm reminded of how significant each moment is. Now, most of us are aware of this, but it is so difficult to keep that in mind as time rushes us along. And tragically, we may need a crisis to remind us, to awaken us to what really matters, because we are so busy keeping up with all the things that don't. But we don't have to be like this, even in today's frantic and frenzied world. Slowing down is within our reach. And this I am saying to myself more than you. Slowing down is within my reach. Slowing down is within our reach. Now is the only time there is. Now is the only time there is. The present is all we have. The present is all we have. You've heard me share this Zen story many a time. Indulge me again. And for those of you who haven't heard it, welcome. It's the story of the monk who is being chased by a tiger through the forest, and he's running for dear life and happens to stumble and fall off a ledge, and he's trying to hold on to things as he's sliding down, and eventually holds on to a branch and is hanging for dear life, and looks up and he sees the tiger staring down, smacking its lips. And then he happens to look down, and what does he see down below? There's another tiger that just showed up and is looking up expectantly. And as he is wondering about his predicament, he sees this little mouse come out of a little hole and start gnawing at the branch. And so he is here hanging for dear life, a tiger above, a tiger below, and a mouse eating his lifeline. And then what does he see? He notices something, the corner of his eye, which he happens to look, and he notices this really ripe, red, luscious strawberry. And so the monk proceeds to pluck that strawberry, looks at it, takes a bite, and as the juice flows into his mouth, he just closes his eyes and goes, living each moment as a strawberry moment, as if it is your only moment. Because life is like that, right? Tigers above, tigers below, a mouse gnawing at our lifelines. All that is happening, and all we have is that strawberry moment. So instead of ceding time to the past or the future, we can take steps to give our undivided attention to the here and now. And in practice, it means we need to learn to slow down and give complete attention to whatever we are doing in this moment, as if this is the only moment. And of course, we need to be clear about our priorities so that what we do is chosen wisely. Being present and connecting also means connecting to our own center. And this, when we do this intentionally, together and by ourselves, it can open the door to a rich sense of fulfillment and even joy, while helping us be actually more effective in how our time is used. So friends, all this to say, we have a lot that is happening in our lives and at Cedar Lane this year. I think I just gave you a couple of things when I mentioned about the construction process. Well, we will have tigers above and tigers below, and maybe even some actual mice gnawing at our cables here. What would it take for us to breathe in to this moment and to move through this time together intentionally, making space for us to be present to one another, to ourselves, to our community, in ways that in turn we can journey together, holding the stress and the anxiety that is going to come up in the midst of all the devastations that we're going to encounter. But doing that, being present in ways that calls forth that inner self, the elephant, that in turn can guide us to be able to go through this time, recognizing that we will get through and come to this beautiful new vision that is going to be unfolding before us. So, all of this was a prelude for the construction process. No, my hope for each of us in this new year is that we will make time for centering down, be it only in minutes stolen from our busy days, but far from being a selfish act, I hope we will take time for ourselves in a way of preparing ourselves to act unselfishly for others. Because it is not a luxury, but a necessity. And it is available to us. So may we choose to say yes to it. And let us take some time to practice being in the moment and finding our center with this guided meditation from Ram Dass. So I invite you to center yourselves. Place your feet on the floor to feel the earth rising. And close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. Settle yourself. Allow your body, your mind, and your breathing to be in alignment, easy alignment. And take a breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take another breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. There is this moment. The sounds, the sensations, the feelings, just this moment. C.S. Lewis said, you don't see the center because it's all center. So experience the center, starting from your heart and in concentric circles, including this entire sanctuary, this community, all coming out from your heart, all coming into your heart. Feel the energy of this community at the circumference of the circle, and feel the quietness of the middle of your heart at the center. Riding close to the center, feel all of the qualities of your personality, your history, and your timeline of coming to this moment, all of it as the little circle around the center. And that all has movement and activity and identity. And yet, right in the center of that is your quiet point. The sounds in this room, the feelings in your body, they're all part of the circles that go around the center. But in the center, there is no coming, no going. And if you are still feeling caught in thought or agitation, just sigh your way into the center. Just say, ah. Say it. Ah. Ooh. And let each sigh take you closer to that quiet center. And now, move one of your hands in any way you want. But notice the relationship of the moving hand to the quiet center. And do it if you're able, and do it with some awareness not to hit the person next to you. Feel the stillness of the center at the same as the movement of your hand. And see that the movement of the hand is led by the intention of the mind. But all of that is in the circle around the center, and the center just is. Ah. Just sigh your way into the center, to the still, quiet space within. The universe, looked at from the center, from the quietness, is seen as flow, as movement, as energy, as patterns, as comings and goings, as emotions and thoughts from the eye of the center. Let each breath take you deeper into the center, into that quiet place, the timeless space, the spaceless space. And then, if you want to make the leap, appreciate that the center point in the middle of the heart that we talk about as the center of the circle is everywhere. Everywhere you look in the universe, everything's happening and nothing's happening. It's all changing and it's all still. When they say quietness is master of the deed, it is the relationship of that quiet center to the forms around it. It is when you sit at the center of the universe in the silent, spaceless space, timeless time. It is with that eye that you are truth. For in the center, there is no longing, no hopes, no desires, no fears, nowhere to go, nothing to do, right in that center. We listen from that center to hear what part is played. We see from that center, seeing the design and the play and the dance, and every time we get lost in the periphery of the circle, the minute we remember, we are on our way back to the center of the flower, the center of the mandala, the center of our community, the center where past and future fold in on themselves, the center where here and there fold in on themselves. There's a sound, the sound of Om, that represents all of the sounds folded in on themselves. It is that sound of silence. It is spoken, yet unspoken. Join me as you feel moved. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. I invite us to stay seated and sing Find a Stillness, number 352, in the hymnal and also on screen. In his book, Meditations of the Heart, Dr. Howard Thurman writes, "How good it is to center down, to sit quietly and see oneself pass by. The streets of our minds seethe with endless traffic. Our spirits resound with clashing, with noisy silences, while something deep within hungers and thirsts for the still moment and the resting lull. With full intensity we seek, ere thickest passes, a fresh sense of order in our living, a direction, a strong, sure purpose that will structure our confusion and bring meaning in our chaos. We look at ourselves in this waiting moment, the kinds of people we are. The questions persist. What are we doing with our lives? What are the motives that order our days? What is the end of our doings? Where are we trying to go? Where do we put the emphasis, and where are our values focused? For what end do we make sacrifices? Where is my treasure, and what do I love most in life? What do I hate most in life, and to what am I true? Over and over the questions beat upon the waiting moment. As we listen, floating up through all of the jangling echoes of our turbulence, there is a sound of another kind, a deeper note which only the stillness of the heart makes clear. It moves directly to the core of our being. Our questions are answered, our spirits refresh, and we move back into the traffic of our daily round with the peace of the eternal in our step. How good it is to center down. May we find in our quiet moments the strength and the courage to carry on in all of the twists and the turns of our life's journeys. And may these moments in turn lead us back into a world desperate for the work of our hands and hearts. So may it be. Amen. Blessed be.